Hey CIE 401, Alex here again. It's week 6, and we're looking at how NGOs contextualize global agendas, part 2. So we're doing the second half of our last week's content. We've got some, I think, interesting objectives for this week, and I wanted to point out a couple things. One is that I want you to make sure that you're going through the objectives before you go through the readings and the videos, so you can see the kinds of things that you should be paying attention to. And also to note that in two of your books, the NGO book and the Globalization Reader, yours might be red, mine's bluey purple, there are questions at the end of chapters and sections, and you probably figured this out long ago, but those are the ways that I am thinking about the objectives, because I'm not taking all of the questions or points at the end of the chapters and parts from the text, but I'm taking some specific ones, and then I'm making those into broader objectives for all of the reading and all of the videos and all of the other things that we'll be doing. So pay attention to those things, because I think it'll really help you as you go through the readings. I know it'll help you as you go through the videos. Okay. So a couple things. We really want to focus on why NGOs should or should not partner with educational institutions or national education systems or even intergovernmental organizations that are already doing work in education in particular communities. We want to think about the relationship between NGOs and nonprofits. That's going to be important. That's the second of these objectives here. They are very closely linked. In fact, you might argue that one is literally defined by the other. So they're hard to separate, but it's important because we will see both NGO and nonprofit used throughout our readings and videos if you haven't already. We want to talk about NGOs in terms of how they complement or conflict with government education programs. This will also be important when we get down to this last objective about whether formal mass education services should be taken out of government control and run by external independent agencies like NGOs, especially in fragile states or in situations where governments aren't able to provide all the resources or the curriculum or the whatever that is necessary for mass education to occur, mass formal education to occur. And then we're going to focus a lot on sort of the context of education, how NGOs fit in that, but more importantly, the ways that corruption in NGOs, or corruption, maybe not in NGOs, but corruption in education that might be by the NGOs or facilitated by the NGOs, or that the NGOs themselves might address and resolve. We want to take a look at that. So those are going to be the main objectives overall. You're going to be reading chapters 6 through 9 out of your Education as NGOs book. So make sure that you get those read. It's 160 pages, which is hefty. It's basically the second half of the book. So I think that is wrong, actually. That can't be that many pages. So I'll be adjusting that. The whole book is like 160 pages. Okay, I'll fix that. It's a lot of pages, but it's not crazy. Anyway, take a look at that. Okay, it bugged me so much I had to fix it right away. So it's 60 pages. That's still a lot, but it's not crazy. All right. 60 pages of reading. Then we're going to move into 3 modules for this week. One on NGO partnerships. It'll look very specifically at the NGO nonprofit distinction. We're going to be looking at BEFSA, the Boring Educational Foundation for South Africa. We're going to be looking at another example from India about government partnership schools. I think it'll be a really interesting module for you. The next module is on corruption, and we're going to be focusing on the Kids Company organization, which is what the chapter from your book about the UK is largely about. But the interesting thing is that it has been closed because of corruption by the organization's founder, or perpetrated by the founder. Really interesting. If you want, obviously I want you to watch this video, but if you just look on YouTube for more videos about this, it gets really dark. You could have a long afternoon of learning about corruption. And then we've got a module on fragile states and NGO education. I put solutions with a question mark because the idea is, can NGOs really be the solution to this? Or are there other problems with that? So some examples from Sierra Leone and from Somalia about how NGOs are being a part of the organization and how other organizations are facilitating NGO involvement in fragile state context. And then also an interview with the Minister of Education from Somalia, another fragile state, about some of the needs of the education system and the ways that non-governmental organizations can or cannot be a part of that. So you get two voices from that. In preparation for our class this week, I want you to make sure that you have turned all of those objectives back into questions and think about what the answers would be based on the required readings, certainly supplemented by the readings and the videos from this preparation page. And then, of course, always provide your comments by leaving a reply here in the leave a reply section at some point. All right, looking forward to seeing you guys soon. Week 6 is upon us.